Hey friends, if you're on a GLP-1 medication like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, or Zepbound, or if you're even thinking about starting one of these medications, this video is for you. Today, I'm breaking down some of the most common GLP-1 injection mistakes that can affect how well your medication works. These are things I've learned about as I've made my way through my own journey, and I want to share what I've discovered with you so that I can help you avoid the trial and error. So let's see what you need to do to ensure that you get the best results safely and consistently. So, why does proper injection technique matter? Before we jump into the mistakes, here's why good injection habits really matter. First, absorption issues. These meds need to be injected into the fat layer just under your skin, not into the muscle, but not too shallow. Wrong placement can mean your body doesn't absorb the medication properly. Sometimes you might experience a dose loss. If you inject too fast or pull the needle out too early, some of the medication can leak out, and that means you're not getting the full dose. Sometimes there are skin and site issues. Using the same spot repeatedly can lead to irritation or even lipodystrophy, which can mess with future absorption and make your injections painful. And there's also infection risk. Not cleaning the site properly or reusing needles increases your chance of infection. So, with all of that in mind, here are the top mistakes that you want to avoid. Number one is don't inject into the muscle. Stay subcutaneous. These meds work best when injected into the fatty layer just under the skin. If you go too deep or not deep enough, it can mess with absorption. I always pinch the skin to make sure I'm hitting the right layer. Secondly, you don't want to ever reuse your needles. Never ever reuse the needles. I know that some people find that to be tempting, especially when they're running low on syringes, but reused needles dull quickly. They increase your pain and they raise your infection risk. So always use a fresh, sterile needle. The third thing you want to do is rotate those injection sites. Injecting in the same spot every time can cause irritation or scar tissue. I switch between my belly to sometimes I'll go into my thigh and then I go back to the belly, but either way, I'm consistently rotating in the area where I want to give my injections. And I will keep a little note to remind myself of where my last injection was, although I'm one of those lucky people that I keep the red mark until the next time I inject. So I pretty much know where the last shot was. Number four, don't skip doses or randomly change your schedule. GLP-1s work best when your body is on a routine. Skipping or changing days too often can affect your blood sugar and your progress. Try to stick to the same day each week and the same general time frame. Number five is that you want to ensure that you are storing that medication properly. These pens and medications are temperature sensitive. I keep mine in the fridge inside the box that it came in, and I take it out just before injecting. I'll let it sit for maybe about 15-20 minutes before I inject, just to bring it up to room temperature, because if you inject with a colder medication, it's going to be more uncomfortable for you. But leaving it out too long or exposing it to heat can make it less effective. So you definitely want to make sure that you are storing it at the appropriate temperature and that you are using it within a reasonable time frame after removing it from the fridge. Number six, if you're using a syringe, you always want to remove the air. Injecting air won't hurt you, but it can throw off your dose. If you're using a vial and a syringe, always tap and push the air out before you inject. Number seven, you want to make sure that you're using the proper injection technique. Some pens have a double click system. Zepbound is one of those. One click when you start and another when it's done. So you don't want to pull the needle out too early. You want to wait for that second click or count to 10 to ensure that it's done doing its thing. Number 8, dispose of those needles safely. Don't toss used needles in the trash. Use sharps containers or a thick plastic bottle with a lid, and check with your pharmacy or local guidelines for the appropriate disposal guidelines in your area. And one bonus tip I have is to keep in touch with your medical provider and make sure you're going in for follow-up appointments. I make sure to keep in contact with my provider regularly. I've also set up appointments for labs and check-ins in the future. It is super important to monitor your progress, adjust your dosage if it's needed, and also to stay on track with things. I hope this helped you feel more confident with your GLP-1 injections. If you made any of these mistakes, there's no shame in that. Drop a comment below and let's learn together. If this video helps you, give it a like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for more tips for my personal GLP-1 journey. Stay safe, stay consistent, and I will see you in the next video.